Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do are just some hamstring extensions to come up from this nice sitting all the way back on your heels position to just coming up to a kneeling position if it's comfortable for you. Of course, you might need a mat if you're on a hard floor. I'm just going to use the ball to support me so I can push down on the ball, roll it out a little bit, but really engaging the hamstrings and glutes to come up to a nice tall position, lengthening again, checking ear over shoulder, over hips, over knees now, and then coming back down. So the ball isn't doing a whole lot, but it's helping balance and support, just kind of rolling it along. You could roll it in underneath you to help lift underneath the belly, get the low abdominals engaged, and then come back down, leave the ball where it is, and then using the backs of the legs, bringing up, engaging, drawing the navel in. If you, it's below the navel at this point. Those low abdominals engaged right where the ball hits, and then coming back down. Good. I'm going to go into a little strengthening, gentle strengthening for the hamstrings and the hips here. So just kind of, again, hanging out with my upper body. And from here, I'm going to extend one leg out long, really reaching through the heel, and then come back in. As I do that, I'm going to try to engage the muscles of the glutes and the upper hamstrings, and then come back in. You can switch the head when you switch the leg, just to find how that affects everything. Again, reach the heel, and back down, and I reach, and back down. This time, I'm going to add a reach through the heel, lengthen through the opposite hand, and come back down. I'm going to keep my head in the center now for this, to find a balance. And reach to the opposite arm. And you can play with how far you are on the ball and how that affects your stability. Right now, my belly's pretty, it would be hard for me to come up on the ball too much higher because of the belly, but it could come up a little bit. This would make the balance a little bit trickier. The higher you are up on the ball, toward your navel, the closer to the ball is toward your navel, the harder this will be. The closer it is toward your chest, the easier. Okay. Then I'm going to take this into another progression. Just kind of brings the leg out to the side a little bit, engage some different muscles, and really keep the hips level here on the ball as I go. First, extend the right leg out, and then I'm going to sweep it without shifting or twisting on the ball. I'm going to try to stay where I am and just slide that foot out along the floor. Keeping the inside of the foot on the floor as I go, and then bringing it back again and back into where I started. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to turn to a front view so that you might be able to see this a little bit better. So I'll extend the left leg, my left leg out and around, inside of the foot on the floor, and back and in. And I'm going to go again. And if you're really tight along the IT band, you might feel like this is a stretch as much as it is a strengthening, balancing movement. So depending on how you are feeling, you might want to hang out there in that stretch. You kind of hang out there, see if you can release any tension, give it a shake, breathe into it. This is, in particular, with my left leg, since I sleep on the left side, it's particularly tight. So this feels really nice as a stretch. And you might feel it in the inner thigh as well. And coming back. And from that last position, you might find a little lunge. Feels really nice for the inner thighs, opening out the hips and pelvis. I'm going to step out as far as I can with one leg, nice and straight. And then I'm going to shift and roll the ball, trying not to take the knee any further than the ankle. And then I'm going to come back. It's a really nice stretch for the inner thigh. It's really opening up both hips as you go. And go to the other side. Outward rotation now. Leg on the floor. Opening that knee back. You can use your hands as I am. It feels really nice. Going to push open. Settle into that side. And coming back. And of course this could be a more moving, flowing routine. Where I settle in. Push from the net foot back to where I started. Let it come out, turn it out, yield into that leg, push from it, and back. You can add even a little bit more. You can make it a rocking motion, depending on how stable you are, how good it feels to you. And the last thing I'd like to share are some squats with the ball. Squats are one of the best things that we can do during pregnancy to prepare, unless you've been advised not to. Okay, so if my ceiling were higher, I would bring the ball all the way up over my head, directly over my head, shoulders next to my ears, or arms next to my ears, but I have a short ceiling, so this is as far as I can go. Also, I'm going to be in legs wider than hips position, and feet are slightly outwardly rotated as I go. I'm going to show you from the side view just so you can really see what I'm doing here. So just in a nice wide position, arms overhead, shoulders down. I'm just going to lower, sending my tailbone back behind me, keeping the ball overhead as much as possible, trying to keep those heels on the floor. I'm going to lower the ball down. Bring my forehead to the ball, push my forehead into the ball as I straighten through the legs. Slightly bent or fully straight, depending on your flexibility and comfort. And then straightening the arms, starting from the tailbone, dropping. I'm going to roll up the spine and bring the ball back up the ceiling with straight arms until I arrive overhead. And then again, keeping the knees over the toes, sending the weight back into the heels, tailbone back behind me as I keep the arms up. Nice deep squat, lower the ball, head on the ball, push into the head, send the tailbone high to the ceiling, and with straight arms, let the spine roll up, shoulders down the back, rolling up one vertebra at a time, all the way back up. I'll do one more just to demonstrate. I might do 8 of these in a sequence to really open out that pelvis. And back up, shoulders dropping down. That's all for now.